So good evening, everyone. Welcome again to Webinar 5. And the final session, as I said, Webinar 5 out of 5. The fifth session of our series, named Building Impactful Careers in Global Health. As you all know, my name is Mignon Muredwa, and I'm also one of the people who are building their careers in global health because I'm a graduate student at Yonsei University in Seoul, South Korea. I'm doing my master's in global health security. It has truly been a pleasure moderating this journey with all of you guys. Thank you so much for being there. And yeah, we're almost there, all right? In the next 1 hour, we'll be wrapping up this long journey, but worth it. So today's session is titled Ace Your Next Interview. Today we're going to learn about the practices for global health job interviews and how to ace them to the fullest. This is a very important topic no matter how qualified you are, because opportunities are often unlocked through how well we present ourselves. We saw it in our last session, how we communicate, what we know, what we do, what we're capable of is very important. And now this time in an interview, it's a very specific moment. Now, before we begin, let us briefly reflect on the journey that we've been taking together in this series. As you remember, our first webinar, we celebrated global health talents. We had recent graduates in global health delivery. They shared to us with their journey, their experiences. We also learned about global health challenges, how to understand real world problems in global health, and step to shaping careers, pathways in our careers in global health, identifying where we can contribute and how we can contribute. Our last week's session, we talked about personal branding and positioning yourself in a manner that you make your work visible and impactful. And today we're bringing everything together because at the end of this series, we're going to understand challenges, knowing your path, starting building your brand. And now at this moment, when you're in an interview, how do you communicate all of that effectively in an interview? As I said, I really hope you guys are as excited as I am. And let's make this session interactive as always. I like telling you this, guys. Let us all get together. We'd like to see your energy in chats. We would love to hear from your thoughts. You guys are bringing very good additions and recommendations. We're going to have our very special time at the end of panel discussion, after the panel discussion, and we talk about everything. So, how do you currently feel about interviews? Confident, nervous, excited? Please, as you keep thinking about it, let us have Dr. Jahik Niitanga. It's my pleasure to introduce him again as today's presenter. As you all know, he's a medical doctor and a global health professional and founder of Your Way Health. At the moment, he has been helping us to empower us as young professionals to strengthen our careers in global health. Now today, he's going to take us in today's topic, how to ace interviews. Dr. Jahik, you're welcome. The floor is yours.
Can I confirm that you guys see this?
Positive.
Awesome. Miggy, thank you very much. That was a kind introduction and a good summary of what you went through. I'm excited to come to the end of the last of this series on building impactful careers in global health. We saw so much. So today, I'm excited to end at this high note on it. The reason is you are always one interview away from your dream job. Whether you brand well, whether you network, whether you apply, you don't get opportunities you want without an interview. Or if it's a job, it's a business deal, it's a grant, interview, it's part of the journey. one away. Always between you and your dream in your career, usually there is an interview of some kind. And many people feel overwhelmed. I saw in the chart, people say interview can be overwhelming. So today, we're going to have to learn the framework, how you can really master the interview. And I'm really excited to be joined by Edson, who is leading Route to Rwanda. I've been working with him on training interview practices at different universities. And Etienne at UGHE, who is in a career office. I remember him giving me the training on interview. So this is going to be a rich experience for all of you. To get started, I want you to see this picture. Probably unexpected. Think about this bride. She's looking for a dress for her wedding, but there are many vendors in downtown or chic. Then she has to talk to all of them to find the one she wants. But as you can see her looking at herself in the mirror, she has an idea in her head how she wants to look. So all the vendors have to talk to her, present what they have, kind of get the dress she wants. That's exactly what interview looks like. It's like a selling chart. You're going to be talking with the hiring managers, the hiring committee, so that they know what they are looking for. In all the candidates, they know what they're looking for. Then how do you become that one? Think about your just interview as a selling chart. You're selling your skills, your experiences, proving you are the right person. How do you do that? So in this presentation, I'm going to just give you the package for the journey, starting from before the interview, during the interview, and after what you do after the interview until you're hired. There are some simple formula practices you can just use so that interview will never be overwhelming. If you master this formula that I'm going to share with you, I've used it myself when I'm doing interviews. I have trained some professionals to use the same thing. So it's going to be giving you a framework that you can apply in the future. So starting what you do before the interview. Before the interview, of course, like everyone else, you prepare. But what do you prepare for? Many people tend to focus on themselves, looking at writing what they know, what they can do, what they will say. But the best salespeople that I know, they try to walk out of their minds and try to enter the mind of the clients. So before the interview, you have to prepare about the organization or the company that's going to interview you. Understand them, what they want, because that's the only way you can present yourself as a capable person to provide what they want. Organizations have a vision, a mission, things they're working on, a culture of the organization, people work their project they're working on. Do enough research on these things. Can check website, talk to friends, call some people who work there, ask, understand. I remember when I was interviewing for UGHE, be it a master program, be it a job there, I know UGHE culture is about equity. So I had to find ways. I proved that I'm interested in equity as well. That my work, my experience actually shows equity somewhere. Understand organization. 2, job. They want you to do the job. Honestly, as you are worried that will they hire me? The hiring managers, they're worried, are we going to be to find the right person for this job? They have that fear. So prepare about the job, description, skills, all that. Then there is an interesting part about you, which I want to share with you. It's called, about yourself, you prepare a 5-point agenda and a 6-second sell. I learned this point from the book called 6 Seconds and You're Hired. It's by a career coach called Robin Ryan. I recommend to read if you're looking for a job. And really look for her. She has many interesting content for opportunity search and how do you get to the top. So in the 5 points agenda, it's about actually when you're preparing, after understanding organization, the job, you write down 5 most marketable points you have. And then These points should be showing a picture that you can do the job. And through the interview, you keep coming back to those 5 points. Because these 5 points, they help you to quickly capture the employer interest. Because as soon as you start speaking, the hiring team, they know, is this person probably the one we want? Does he have something or she have something we want? So the 5-point agenda, these are the 5 marketable points you have. Maybe to make it easy for you to understand what I mean, let me use an example of someone who's applying for a job, chief legal officer for a health organization, for a health care organization. They want a chief legal officer, job description and organization. And it's like, what are the 5 things I have in my CV, in my experience, in my skills, in my portfolio that can position me as the right person for this job? At that time, he came up with a list of 5. 1, 20 years of experience in a billion-dollar healthcare organization. That's a strong point, marketable, sellable. The hiring team is like, oh, we want someone who can do the job. This guy has a 20 years experience. Blue tick. Point 2, I'm known for delivering a notable cost savings and operational improvements. For a legal office of organization, is about saving them risks and how do you improve operations and all that. Tick, strong point. Developing a new physicians foundation that deliver millions in a new revenue. So these are things organizations are looking for in a chief legal officer. Responsible for building a much improved relationship with organization physician that has helped us grow. Exceed goals and expectations. This legal officer used these points to show that throughout the interview, he keeps coming back to these points to show that he can do the job. So whatever job you see, be like, let's say, program manager, look in your portfolio. What are the 5 strong things you can prove using and show that you can do the job? It's called 5-point agenda. So for any job, write down those 5 marketable things. Then after writing those 5 marketable things, you prepare 60-second sell. This is a statement you say in just 60 seconds. Actually, before I even forget that, usually interview questions, you shouldn't respond in more than 60 seconds. Because the more you ramble, people lose interest. It should be straight. 60 seconds is the recommended range. So 6-second sell is a statement that you say and summarizes your 5-point agenda. The purpose to show you meet the job needs so that you can be able to target your skills to meet their needs. And it helps you to summarize your points in a precise and concise manner. Let me use an example. So you can use this 6-second sell on many opportunities throughout the interview. Like when they ask you, tell me about yourself. Many people go on to talk about their life story. I was born and it grew. Immediately, 6 seconds, they ask you this, mention your 5 points agenda. 5 points. Or why should we hire you? Same answer. You can immediately make your 6-second sell. What are your strengths? Still here. Those marketable points you have, you can present them. Why are you qualified? What makes you think you can succeed in the position? Why do you want this job? All these questions, actually, you can respond to all of them using your 6-second sell. Let me show you an example. So the chief legal officer goes on and prepare this one. They're like, tell us about yourself. Immediately, you don't want to go, yo, my name is this, I have this. Tell us about yourself. Or why do you want a job? I have a proven track record serving as the in-house general counsel with 20 years of experience, directing the legal department and corporate governance for billion-dollar healthcare organization. It's a story. I'm a creative problem solver known for delivering notable cost saving. You can see all the 5 points we had, they're here. One of my most significant accomplishments in the last 2 years was developing physicians foundation that deliver $1 million or something. You see all the points he had or she had, because now for this one we don't know who he or she. You package them in this statement you can use, and don't just say this, but you make a story. This is called your 60-second sell. You can, because in the first minute The interviewers decide whether they will listen to you or not. Sometimes people can ask you questions and they want to listen to a word you say because they have already lost interest. When you started, yeah. So prepare this 6 seconds. This is what you do before the interview. You learn about the organization, then the job description, then you prepare about yourself, your 5-point agenda, and the 6 seconds. Then during interview, meet these 3 questions, either introductory, competence-based, and conclusion questions. So introductory, they are tell me about yourself. We saw that you can respond to such kind of questions by your 6-point agenda. Immediately prove that you can do the job. That's what they are looking for. Do you have skills? Do you have experience? Your experience can be a sellable skill. So here in those introductory questions, you use your 6-second sell. Then on competency-based questions, these are very, very important. Every interview, they have questions to check if you have skills for the described needs of the job. So if you're a project manager, for example, you should be able to do stakeholder engagement. So they ask you a question like a scenario. Tell me about a time you managed a project with multiple stakeholders. In case of such questions, there is a formula you can use to respond. It's a situation, behavior, impact model, SBI model. So like, for example, for this question of tell me about a time, I remember when they asked me this, I used an example of me managing a project. So when they ask this competence-based question, don't do hypothetical thing. If you have experience doing similar work, use it to say the situation, what happened. I said, last year I was responsible for organizing the Japan-Rwanda Youth Cooperation Conference, an event aimed to strengthen the partnerships between young leader, university, companies, and diplomatic missions. This was the situation. What I did to ensure success, I mapped all stakeholders' interests and their expectations, created a clear project plan and timelines and deliverables, facilitated regular meetings, transparent communication. I show what I did and the impact. We raised 25,000 USD for the conference, hosted 100 participants. You see, this kind of show that I mastered stakeholder engagement. In behavior, I show the skills that I have and the impact I did. So this formula can help you to respond to all those kind of competence-based questions. Then, lastly, conclusion questions. They ask usually, do you have any question for us? This is a time to actually determine if you want a job. So your question should be around responsibilities and the duty. And I was surprised to find you can even carry with yourself a list of 10 to 15 questions. And when they ask, you can pick that list and see if they answered all the questions. We're like, yeah, I think you have answered all my questions about the job. If they see you have a list of questions, be like, oh, this person is thoroughly, like he or she took time to understand the work and all that. Or you can ask a question like, can you tell me more about the team I'm going to be working with, how this role contribute to the department, to large goals? Question that help you understand the job is right for you. Don't ask about salaries and the leaves. They say you can ask about those afterwards. To conclude, what do you do after the interview? So what do you do after the interview? Many people don't do that, but it's a magical pill. Sending that thank you note makes you stand out among all the candidates who came. Express your gratitude, reaffirm your interest, and show your strength. I want to just end with a screenshot of my email that I sent after job interview. Actually, it's a few months ago. I did interview. Then at the end of the day, before actually the day ends, I sent this. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much for your time today during the interview. I just want you to know that I enjoyed our time together discussing the work I am passionate about, research. My interview was about research anyway. I am the person you want. And not only do I want this job, I'm really, really looking forward to it because I can see myself bring a lot of value at UGH. It was much about UGH and growing in my career. I hope I get the chance to meet you on the second interview. I knew the second was coming anyway. Anyway, to cut story short, second interview I was invited. I sent a similar email, just a little bit. That I don't know what if this email helped, but it's a recommended practice after the interview to send the email to show your interest, your enthusiasm. If other people don't do it, and you have equal scores, I guarantee you the one who sent an email would more like to do better. So if an interview is like a sales chat, you're selling something, your skills, your experience, sell like a pro. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Eric. Such an insightful, informative presentation. But someone is checking in the chat box that this is the corruption. Sam, please keep your comment. We're going to have you and explain why, because I think she wanted to talk about the email you sent after the presentation, but don't worry, we're going to talk about it after the panel discussion. So, Dr. Eric, thank you so much for showing us that the real and smart way to succeed in an interview. Please don't forget about the 5-point agenda and the 60-second sale. I really hope everyone caught everything about that. And don't remember that Dr. Eric mentioned that interview is not about memorizing your answers. It's about being clear, prepare, and communicating your value with confidence. Thank you so much, Dr. Eric. So today we have experts that we're going to have for a panel discussion, and today they're going to help us explore how this plays out in real interview settings. So let's get into practice. So today we have Etienne Turikumana. We're joined by him today. He works in career and student recruitment at the University of Global Health Equity. He's bringing direct experience from the University of Global Health Equity in evaluating candidates and guiding career development. Etienne, please put on your camera and wave. Say hi.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you this evening.
Nice to meet you too. We're so glad to have you here today. And second, we have Edson Niyontegereje. Thank you so much for joining us today. He is the national coordinator at Root Rwanda. Strong experience with leadership, program management, and professional development. Edson, we're so honored to have you here, join us here today. Please wave and say hi to us.
Hello. Yes, hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you too. We're so excited to have you both. And let's dive into questions. And as today, we're very happy and ready to learn from your experience. So let us start with Edson. Please tell us what are the maybe one or two qualities or behaviors that clearly differentiate candidates who succeed from those who don't.
All right. Thank you so much, Oweya, for the platform, and thank you, Dr. Eric, for the invitation. It's an honor always to come on these kind of stages to share the experiences, especially with professionals and especially young professionals in different careers. So, basing on different experiences that we have had when we are doing some interviews with professionals, there is a question. I'll begin with a question they normally ask, which is, why should we hire you? This is really a question that is not, a generic question. Most of the time we just understand the question, but we don't really, it's a question of personal. It's like we are asking beyond your degrees, beyond your knowledge, your hard skills. Why should we hire you? Like everyone has got papers, everyone has got those technical knowledges. Why should we hire you? So the question of it really brings in clarity and also the ownership. Like we are looking for someone to fit in this position. How your personal fit bring in as someone that we want in that position. So if someone is really able to clarify and also show the ownership that he's able to do the work. I think most of the time that's the gap that we normally see in different candidates, where they are not able to show to communicate that I'm a good fit of this of this position. So mostly when it comes to that, like how do you communicate your ownership? Like how do you show that you are the best fit of that position? Mainly those two, the clarity and also the ownership. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Edson. Yes, let us also have Etienne talk to us. And I really emphasize this question with him because he's part of he's part of recruitment and coordination at the University of Health Equity. Etienne, how do you know that someone is a real candidate or not? What differentiates someone from passing the interview from that one who actually don't get to the second interview that Dr. Eric mentioned? How do you know those people?
Thank you very much, Mignon. I'm honored to be part of this panel. I will be talking from the experience of me as someone who have been interviewed many times, and someone who has gone through running the interviews for others. One of my mentors told me, and I want everyone to note this, that the interview for the next job starts the moment you start a job. Once you start a job, the interview for the next job starts. How? Someone may have spent 10 years in a job or in an organization, and then for the next interview, he fails to document and show what he has done, the value he has added in the organization, and what he is bringing. In other words, as you accumulate your experience, you should be knowing that anytime I will use this experience and skills for any interview. So, and many people fail to demonstrate their experience in relation to the job they are applying for. You are told to say, we are looking really for the value you are bringing to the organization. And that value comes from your experience. That is why anytime you are in any position, keep documents of your achievements. Keep documenting your achievement, the situations you have been in. So in case you are asked to say yourself, you know what to give. And if you do that exercise even now, you will if someone tells you, can you tell me 10 things you have done in your current job? Yet you have been there for 5 years. But because you never documented that, you are not able to show what you have. So the interview for the next job starts as soon as you start a job. To mean that you should keep your experience with you, and you should be able to use it for the next position. But what people are looking when they are interviewing a person, another thing to remember is the interview. When you are given the interview, it means you qualify for the job. If the recruiter has seen you as someone who's not qualifying, you cannot reach that stage. It means they trust you can do the job. What your objective now is to show that I can do the job better than anyone, which means I should pull my skills, my experiences to indicate that I'm the best candidate among any number that I don't know. Because you're competing with the number you don't know. But trust me, when you get to interview, it means the recruiter trusts you that you can do the job. It's up to you to demonstrate. And key things they are looking for, it's your attitude, your experience, and most importantly, the value you are bringing to the organization and to the position. Remember, you are fitting into two things. Someone can be good at this job, but he's not fitting in overall mission of the organization. He's not fitting in the culture of the organization. So that is why when Eric mentioned that you must start the culture, knowing that culture and demonstrate that you are fitting in that culture is very important. So they are looking for the experience, they are looking for the value, they are looking for your fitness into the position, and even into the into the global mission of the organization and their culture. And you need to work on your communication skills and how do you package your experience. I would probably finish this comment with illustrating something. Remember, when you go to the market, someone can package very low product, very low quality product. When it is very well packaged, we tend to prefer that product over the product which may be very valuable but which is not well packaged. So the way you package your experience, the way you package your attitude, your communication skills, your competences, and then use them as a key that directly fits into the position. That's the key that I can say. I don't know if I answered the question properly, but I want everyone to understand that when you are in a job, you are preparing for the next interview because you are going to use whatever you are acquiring in that job to land another job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Etienne. You definitely did. And oh my God, did you know that your interview actually starts when your first day of your job? I didn't know. And let me branch this second question on this point as we have Edson go straight on this. Actually, from your experience, Dr. Rick has talked to us about preparation, organization, and communicating your capabilities to the interview team. Can you please tell us which areas do you think candidates most underestimate, and it's actually really important at the end of the day, and how does this affect their performance in an interview? Just one, at least one thing that you think candidates underestimate, and then we also have Etienne talk about that.
Well, the most underestimation is like when you go in the interview when you have not searched about the organization. Like there is a recommendation that we normally recommend people when you're searching about jobs. We normally recommend them that before you search or before you Google a job online or on Google, first Google yourself. Are you really, do you want that kind of job that you're Googling? So most of the time we prepare our CVs, we prepare which kind of questions are we going to answer, but most of the time we don't search about the organization that we are going to do the interviews from, like which kind of dispositions, like what's really needed for a person to succeed in this kind of in this kind of role. So when you are able to search around the organization and also just know even the weaknesses of maybe this kind of person might have in the role, which kind of the expertise do they need in this kind of who is applying this person on this role, so that you in the answers in the replying on those questions in the interviews that you are being asked, you tackle those those weaknesses that they might have seen in that similar person. So it's really a recommended thing that if you are going for an interview, you first Google, understand what's the organization really need in this person, and also as Dr. Eric said, the organization culture. So if you are not able to understand all those, really you are not prepared to do the interview, that as we said. So that's what I see in an estimation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Edson. That's a very important point. Yeah. Etienne, do you wanna highlight something on this?
Something I can add from the experience is the interviewers, they know you don't know everything and you have not worked in that organization. And sometimes they will ask questions to test if you are someone who can learn. As much as you answer to the best you can, You should demonstrate that you can learn. With that, I have been with some interviewees who you ask a question, probably there is a technical term which this person doesn't understand, and he starts answering before understanding the question. Please, when you don't understand the question, ask for clarification. And before you answer, you should always understand the question. Understand the question means you understand what they're asking, but you should understand why are they asking these questions. What are the key competences, skills, attitude they want to look in me in the question? And I remember once we asked a person, like the policy of the organization doesn't allow people to give lift to people on the street. Then you are driving a company vehicle, then you meet someone, a pregnant woman who is on labor, and she's going for the hospital, and the hospital is very, very far away. What would you do? Breach the policy and save the woman? Or keep the policy and then go on for the... You see, that is a tricky question. What they are trying to see, you should, and the answer should lie on you understand. The best answer you should keep in mind why do they ask me this question? What do they want to see in me? And they are putting me in a dilemma. How will I solve that dilemma? Conflict of interest. How will I solve that conflict of interest? And it really needs you to be very sharp and very experienced in that. You see, one of the person who answered very well, he said, as a health practitioner, I cannot go past this person despite the policy. I will do that, but I will report myself and excuse myself. I will not wait for the company to discover that I have carried someone. So I will do that. I will inform my leadership and do that. You see, the many people, they answer the questions without understanding why this question is asked, what are the attitude, competences, and the skills they want to see in me by answering this question. Once you understood that, and you answer this, you are perfect. Then you as much as you can, you should answer from experience. Give tangible examples from the experience. I made this situation in this and this and this, and I did this and I did this. So in that case, they will see that you are not just answering from your head, you're answering from your experience. But mostly, what I've seen is many times we answer the question. Yes, we are understanding the question, we are understanding the answer, but we don't understand what is this question intended to know about me. That's the real question, actually. When the interviewer is asking the question, it's not the question he is asking, because he knows you already you have the knowledge, you already have the experience. But behind the question, there is what the qualities he wants to see in you, and you should answer knowing that I should be putting not just the answer, but the qualities of me in the interview. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Etienne. Thank you so much for telling us a lot of secrets. Seriously, at least today we learned that an interview, like succeeding in an interview, is beyond qualifications. You need to learn at first you need how to communicate your value, but again, look behind the curtains. What kind of qualities are the interviewer trying to dig in me? So that's what I express. So it's more than questions and direct answers you memorized. It was also about trying to balance to both sides. Thank you so much. Audience, are you there? Are you enjoying these discussions as much as I am enjoying them? Now, I'll open the floor to your questions, suggestions, additions, anything, any supplementation. Please feel free to open your microphone and share what you want to share, or drop your question in the chat box, and then let's have these 15 last minutes for discussions. Let us know what you're thinking. Emmanuel, thank you for this presentation. Thank you to Emmanuel. God Kanangwa Gilbert, thank you too. All right. Oh, a lot has been going on in the chat. Thank you, thank you. All right. Questions, supplements, anything you want to talk about right now about this presentation, the floor is yours. Oh, you want me to begin? Should I go? Okay, let me take over meanwhile as you think about your questions. You know what I always ask about? And I ask all our three guests today, including Dr. Eric. The question will be the same as bonus question I asked last time. If a candidate had 24 hours to prepare for the interview, for example, I receive an email right now that tomorrow at this time, please come prepared for the interview at the office. What is just one thing that I should focus on in 24 hours that will position me to succeed in that interview? Let us start with Dr. Eric, we go with Etienne, and then we have Edson later. Just 24 hours.
24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, such a short time. But long enough if you really know what you're doing, what you're looking for. During my master program, I was studying health management, and a part of my training was human resource management. How do you get the right people to the job? And they taught us one thing, that if you are preparing interview questions, it's simple. Questions should reflect the kind of skills and attitudes you want. So if you have really short time, maybe you can't consult the website, you don't have anyone to call to ask about the organization, or read the job description. Seriously, usually the job description is the high yield. It can tell you the kind of things to expect. Because a responsible interviewer will not ask whether they know how to drive, where the job is about teaching. Usually interview questions in a standard way, they are set to make sure they can detect the skills and attitudes required. If you need a cheat code, job description tells you the things you can focus on. Then after understanding that, what do I have? Who are you, yourself, your experience, your skills, which can actually show that you can do that job? That's my cheat coding if you have 24 hours.
Yes. Thank you so much. We discovering a lot of secrets. I hope you guys are open-minded. Thank you so much, Dr. Eric. Read the job description. That's the best way and shortcut if you have little time, at least to inform yourself to what you really need to present yourself with. All right? So who do we have next? I forgot about the order I mentioned, but whoever is ready between Edson and Etienne, please go ahead. 1 minute. We have a lot of questions coming in the chat box and we get through that, okay?
So there is something I wanted to also to put in, maybe not much in relation to what you're asking, but also it is very important to know the interviewers. If in most cases when they give you the interview invitation, you can know the name of the interviewers, and then it's very important to search them, their background, their experience, their interest. And trust me, once you are talking, you should understand who you are talking to, and what is his interest. In that sense, you can easily get into his pocket. If you know someone has a lot of gender, a lot of interest in gender, your answer should be gender sensitive, because you may end up shooting in your foot if you answer and then you are demeaning women in your answers, and then in front of you there is a feminist in on that panel. Even if you answer correctly, this person is going to say no, I can't work with that person. So you should always Google and understand the interview, especially the hiring manager. Because in most cases, he he or she is the one to decide. I just wanted also to add that understanding the interviewers is very important, because guess what? Psychologically, we don't take things because the way they are. We take things the way we are. So in anything, I will interpret anything you say based on my experience, based on my attitude, based on my perception. So if you understand my perception, then you should better answer according to answer the way I will perceive it positively. Thank you. I wanted also to add that.
Thank you so much. I really hope you guys are taking notes somewhere, because, succeeding in an interview is beyond like aligning your answer with the job description, as Eric said, but also interviewer oriented. Learn, if you have an opportunity, learn about the interest of your interviewer, because most of them, they have their interest, and try to squeeze and make yourself fit in that answer, right? All right, Edson, welcome.
Thank you, Mignon. There is something that we normally don't, value when you are going for interviews. Like whether you are invited in 1 hour, whether you are invited in 2 hours, but most of the time, like it's part of life. Like we want job, like we are studying. At the end of the day, we are going to graduate and then go for jobs. So most of the time, like what we are doing in Route Rwanda is we normally host what we call mock interviews. Make sure, like in your career, like during your career, during what you're doing, at least practice how do they do interviews. Like it's something that when you're in interview, they also read how you are, do you have fear? Do you have like, and when you have like when you are intimidated, like you're not answering well, you fear about them, they also see that you don't have that confidence. So like you always need to make sure that Christella is the one who mentioned in the chat that interviews are overwhelming. Yes, you know that now. So what are you doing? What are you doing now today that to make sure in your next job interview you're not overwhelmed, or you're not having that fear, to make sure that you succeed that interview? Because we normally see that when you're not confident during the interview, you're not confident about the job, and also technically you might be competent, but also the way you express your things, the way you express yourself, it shows that you're also, if for example you're going to be a project manager, how are you going to sell the company? How are you going to present the company? So it really needs you to make sure, even when you don't have interview, prepare yourself, have something, practice, and there are many ways to practice practice for the interviews. So what you can do, especially when you're called for for like 24 hours, just search around, as we said, search around the organization culture. What do they want in that person, and then match it with the person who you are, because at the end of the day they want you in the job, not the expertise. Because most especially, for example, when it comes to health sector, they want that person who is humility, who is going to take care about the patients, and then that means the match you is needed than the expertise that is needed in the work. So that's generally what I can share about that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Edson. Now we have please keep reading in the chat box. Christelle's giving a lot of important, useful tips. And now let's have this question real quick from Jean-Baptiste Dusengiman. He asked, what is the best weakness or strength that you can answer in an interview? I think what he's trying to ask is that this question is common. I think Etienne might know this. A lot of interviewers ask, what is your weakness and what are your strengths? And he's asking, what is the best answer for this? If anyone can answer this real quick, because we have another question from Danny as well. Anyone? Etienne, Edson, Eric? Anyone who can
I let it to Edison?
Yes. This when they're asking this question, it's not about the other weaknesses they talk about. Most of the time, we are recommended at least to relate it with, for example, if it's a job that requires you maybe to work extra hours, or to you normally say, for example, you can say, my weakness is I don't stop when the work is not done. That shows that it's something that's not really affecting the work. So most of the time, they don't want to listen to the other weaknesses, to the other person's weaknesses. So make sure you relate it with, how you should have that same weaknesses, but also not affecting the work. Yeah, that's what I can say.
All right. Thank you so much. Eric, you really need to talk about this before we close, because 2 people already talked about this and they might really need clarity about this. They want you to talk about the email you wrote after the interview. A lot of people are questioning this. Please try to bring light on that. Someone called it corruption, and yes, it could be moral corruption, but why is it important, and should any interviewee do that after every interview? And what is its importance? Like, I really feel like people need you to talk more about that.
Wow. Interesting.
Serious one.
Well, I am open to be disagreed. If you really think sending such kind of email is corruption, probably you won't send it because you feel bad about it. But this is I didn't make this up. I read a number of books about why this email matters. But let me just put it in perspective. Etienne mentioned something interesting, that by the time you make it to the interview, it is because you're good, you qualify, but prove that you're better than anyone else who also came, who was invited. So think that you all have got this, and the interviewer are challenged. They're trying to really to know who do they hire. The same way you have problems, the same way the hiring team, they have problems. All these people are really, really good. Who do we pick? Oh, I saw like 2 people. They're exactly amazing. And then in the evening, one person, because the person they sent that email, I don't know him or her. I've never met her before. We just met on the interview, and I sent a thank you note. How do you feel when someone sends you a thank you note? These guys, it's a thoughtful person. He's really caring. And there is a saying I heard that sometimes people don't hire just people who are good. Also, they hire people they like. Mm-hmm. If both of you are good, but one is maybe said something bad about gender, and I'm more into gender, I like someone who said something good about gender. So people also hire people they like. So that by sending a thank you email, it says so much about your interest, your enthusiasm about the work, your passion, and thoughtfulness. It's a differentiator. It's a differentiator.
Sorry to cut you short. There is something I think it's confusing in this email. The thank you part is okay, but there is a part where you said you see yourself working there and you can't wait to be working there. So I think people are confused and they be like, isn't it like that being so rude, and the pride of feeling as if you already got there and you be like, you really hope you go to the next step? That's a bit of arrogance or something. I don't know. I don't read people's minds, but I think that's the point that is causing.
Let me. I think the after the interview, there should be ideally a continuum of communication. The communication is very good after the interview. That's number one, because for both of you, like, showing more interest is very necessary. Of course, the way you write that email should always not look like you want to corrupt, or but showing that you really need it, more interest, it's appropriate, because no one is going to sue you. And there's one advice I give people. If the information is not going to undersell you, it's right to put it there, to give it. But if you know this information is going to work against me, remove it. Depending on the culture of the organization, there are some organizations you may send and it works against you. There's other organization you can send it and it works based on you. And I think it's appropriate to weigh around and see, based on the interaction I had with people in the interview, the way they welcomed me. You know, there are people who are very rude in the interview, and sending them a thank you note will look like an insult. You see, not all the interviewers are qualified to be interviewers, by the way. Sometimes you will meet an interviewer who is not really a good interviewer because he's taking things too personal. He's like biased. So I'm supporting Eric, but I'm also supporting, depending on the organization, depending on the level of understanding. Like, Eric has been a student in UGH. Writing back to UGH, he said, telling them, I really want to work to UGH, will not harm anyone. And he would have that confidence to say that. And he knew what people of UGH, how the way they could react about it. Maybe to conclude on that, the communication after the interview, I would add something that really worked against one of my colleagues. Did you know that there is what they call bribe interview? Bribe interview, it happens when after the interview have passed, then they will check if you can be bribed or not. One of my colleagues passed the interview, then later in the evening, someone who is working in the HR of department of that organization made a call to him and said, you have passed in the interview, but as someone who is in HR, I must confirm this. And as you know, nothing is granted. You should give something in return. And that person proposed, like, you should give me one salary as a thank you. Now, this person, it was the first time that he could understand. You know, in some organization, private organization, they can do that. Then he was in dilemma and said, yes, it's okay if you want that. So he agreed to give incentive to the people, to the hiring team, because they have interviewed him. And in the evening, he got a rejection email. We are saying, sorry, you are a best candidate, but you failed the bribe interview. So I wouldn't leave this panel without informing you guys that after the interview, they can still cross-check with you in a certain form to confirm what you have done. And one of the person even at UGH, I remember the second level interview was done. The decision to hire that person was done, but the hiring manager requested to meet that person. Do you know what was happening? He told me tomorrow at 10, I need you. Then this person came exactly that time. He asked him, how did you do to quit the job and come here? He said, I have a right to ask permission. And that person has already asked permission from the work, and he produced it. I asked permission and told them, I want to go somewhere private. Can you give me the permission? And he produced the permission. He was looking for admin assistant, and that would check, is this person who is going to run out of the job without informing me or not? So be keen. After the way you communicate, you can communicate to the interviewers. They can also communicate to you. Once they communicate to you, be aware of what they are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I'm loving the interactions in the chat box. I really hope you guys are reading. But unfortunately, time is not on our side. So guys, let us conclude today. And as we conclude this
an answer to the question. There is a question that what tips behind the interviewer question? Do you have any other thing to say? If we are not, I think that answering that it happens in many cases. If we are not rushing, probably it is evening. We can just talk about that just in a minute. On my side.
Okay, 1 minute and then we wrap up.
When they ask you, like, they give you room to express something. If you see that there are qualities you have not been able to show, there are qualities you did not show during the questioning, it's you are given time to say, apart from doing this, I also am able to do this and this. You are given room to talk about yourself. That's what I just wanted to just comment on. Don't say I don't have anything to say. Look at what you have not been able to say and say it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Let us conclude by here. And thank you, everyone. I really know how to say thank you, but Etienne, Edson, thank you so much. Dr. Jarek, I really don't know how to thank you, but thank you so much for the past weeks that we've had to learn a lot about global health, and as future global health depends on everything we learned about, we really hope we're going to be good healthcare professionals for tomorrow. So this is a final goodbye. Thank you once again. We look forward to seeing you someday. We look forward to seeing every impact each one of you who attended this series is going to bring to the field of global health. And if you ever missed any session, it's on YouTube, Aware Health. Go and subscribe. And let me hand this directly to Dr. Eric. We really want to know if there's something else you have for us in the future, because I feel like we've been talking about interviews, but we didn't talk about documents, the CVs. Let's learn more. If you really would prepare next sessions for us, please, we still have a lot to learn, as you can see in discussions. So over to you for a closing note. Thank you so much, everyone who has been with us throughout this journey. Bye-bye.
Well, 1 minute to say thank you to Minyo and Migi. It's been a journey. 5 weeks down every week, waking up midnight in South Korea to moderate all these events. I'm really, really grateful to you. You've been an amazing moderator, and you created a warm environment for all of us. It's been really, really wonderful. Keep it up. I can't really wait to see what you're going to become. Every time something is offered for free, it's not because it's free. It's because someone has paid for you. So these webinars to happen, we have been using platform for communicating with all of you. We had actually Kundwa Health and Oasis Health and Aware Health sponsoring these events for them to happen seamlessly. So I'm really grateful to the team at Oasis Health and Aware Health and Kundwa Health for working with us. To our panelists, no one charged us money, and it's because they believe in the work we're doing in empowering people. It's amazing. We appreciate you. You are one of the major sponsors of these events. Because the money would have paid you, you gave it to us. You gave it your time. So we appreciate really that contribution you're making to the global health professionals. All the speakers we had from day one, students from UGHE, from WASIS, so many people. We appreciate so much. To the audience that have been coming every week, man, you made it. I hope you learned one thing or two, and you have contributed in our conversation. I myself, I appreciate, but I love it when people challenge my perspective and I learn something. This has been happening all the time. You help us do better, be better. And if you miss any of the series, they're all uploaded on YouTube. In the emails follow-up, we share the link so you can check everything. Lastly, you asked if you have anything in store. Yes. Many people do webinars to sell stuff, but I will sell you only one thing, that stay in touch with us. We have, as Aware Health, we are positioning organization to provide knowledge, expertise, and tools to help individuals like you and organizations augment their impact. So we have training programs lined up in the future. So stay tuned. You'll get to know when we launch those programs so you can benefit from them. It's not taking so much time. Thank you for these 5 weeks. It's been an amazing journey. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so much.